immediately we were interested in World War II spy films and Elvis movies. Just because they were so serious, we thought we could spoof it, and that became top secret.
One of the earliest running jokes in my family was anytime someone would be like, "Oh, we'll do this on Sunday." We'll be like, "Sunday, Sunday, Simchas Torah."
You know the joke I always think of? I know a little German. He's
Me
sitting
too.
over there.
That's the other one I was going to bring up. Those are my two favorite jokes in the whole movie. Tell me about how you guys started doing comedy and that first theater that you guys put together in Milwaukee.
Well, my brother and I just kind of did some student films in college. And when I was a junior and he was a freshman, and Jerry was the star of the movies and I was the director, they gained instant fame on campus. And because I made a student film and for a lecture class taught by this big time professor who was very popular, and everybody had to turn in a student film of 10 minutes. So, and everybody else was doing all these studies in light and shadow and esoteric meaning. I don't know what it was, but I shot my brother running around the campus trying to find a place to pee, and being chased by a guy with his pants down. It was, and it got a huge laugh in my study section, and the TA said, "You got to enter that in a film festival." I never did, but he did show it to the professor, and the professor had me 2 weeks later show it in front of the entire 800 seat lecture. And my brother Jerry and I showed it, and it got huge laughs. And I think we were hooked. We said, okay, now we can make people laugh on film. So that was a key. That was a real breakthrough. And then after college, we started Kentucky Fried Theater with our friend Jim Abrams.
What would you say was the thing that you were doing that was different than other people were doing?
We weren't doing political satire. Everybody else, the committee, and there was some other sketch groups who were doing improv and a lot of Nixon jokes. And so we just did, we thought that was low hanging fruit, like Trump jokes are now. It's just, it's so easy. It's already parody. And so we did media satire, and we we did spoofs on commercials, and nobody did that. And in fact, Lorne Michaels brought Dick Ebersol to see the show. And this was in 74, 75. And he pitched Saturday Night Live to Dick Ebersol, who was one of the vice presidents at NBC, saying, I want to do Kentucky Fried Theater on national TV. And they did it. And, the rest is history. So it was, and we were doing stuff that nobody was doing. And we combined music with commercial. We had a video monitor on stage. So we did commercial spoofs, all the stuff that Saturday Night Live eventually did, and did it well. I mean, Lorne, is a genius, and there's no accident about that.
So how do you get from there to making Kentucky Fried Movie?
Okay, so we didn't want to be dancing around on stage at age 45. So we really we were on a bunch of national TV shows as a sketch group, and that went nowhere. And I always kind of said we made a joint decision with the networks not to do any more TV. and so Jim and Jerry and I decided, okay, we're going to write a movie, because we were fans of Mel Brooks and Woody Allen, and, not like worshiping, because we thought, okay, we could do that too. Not necessarily better, but we said we could do this. So we wrote Airplane, and that was in 1975 and got nowhere. And John Landis came to see our show, and we told him our tale of woe, that we can't get a movie going and we're bored of doing the show. And he said, well, why don't you do a movie of your show, based on your show? And that became Kentucky Fried Movie. John directed it. We did it for 10 cents and it made, 20 million. So then we were in the movie business, but then we rewrote Airplane, and that was again turned down by every studio. And believe me, it's a story of my life, just being turned down, and it continues today. But fortunately, there was a a brilliant movie executive named Michael Eisner, who happened to be the head of Paramount at the time. And he heard about the script, had us into his office, and and he said, "You're in. You don't have to pitch this. I want to do this movie." So that's how it's when it's easy,
Yeah.
and that's how we got to Paramount. There were other challenges like trying to find another idea. We didn't want to do Airplane 2, and although the studio wanted us to do it, but we just don't. I never want to do the same thing over and over again. I always want to do something different. So we pitched them not doing it on an airplane, but Airplane 2. Bob and Julie land the plane. They're happy ending. He takes her home to meet his family to get married, and it's The Godfather. And so and
That's cool.
that
That's
would have
amazing.
been, at the time, would have been great. And to their credit, Eisner and Katzenberg loved the idea, but they had to run it by Francis first. And Francis, for his own reasons, he wanted to do Godfather 3. So that we couldn't do that. So we were looking around for something else to do. And first we did Police Squad in '82, and but it turned out it wasn't right for television, and we put a pin in it, and we were destined to do it later, of course, as Naked Gun, but immediately we were interested in World War II spy films and Elvis movies. Just because they were so serious, we thought we could spoof it, and that became top secret.
Would you say it's harder in general to do a successful spoof these days?
If it's a copy, of course. So they just did. We did an original script for Naked Gun 4, and it was, again, I want to do something fresh, original, different. So we didn't set it in an LA cop station. It's
Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah, it's Mission Impossible, Bond, Bourne Identity, international spy spoof. So, but it's still it's that style of humor. It's our sensibility. And it was it still is a great script. We've retitled it. We'll eventually do it. But Paramount didn't want to do it, wanted to just stay safe. And Seth MacFarlane came in and tried to replace Leslie Nielsen in this old idea, this 35-year-old idea. Okay, Leslie Nielsen was a fresh idea, an old guy as the cop and the hero, and that was fresh 35 years ago. It ain't fresh now. So it's really tough to replace Leslie Nielsen. So we weren't even trying. Our hero we call it counterintelligence, spelled with one L and a J, and the hero would have been a 30-something like Andy Samberg.
Yeah, you can't replace Leslie Nielsen. I mean, it's impossible. He's a one of a kind type of talent.
Not only that, but it's the same formula. It's
right.
It's Drebin in a cop station with Nordberg, and they're doing this stuff I don't want to have anything to do with.
The minute you put your finger on what the formula is, it's done.
I've been able to get away with it twice on each thing. And I'm talking about the Naked Gun and scary movies. I did 2, and I didn't want to have anything more to do with it. And because I'm being asked, would you be interested in doing another scary movie? No. I mean, first of all, the Wayans have a chance at really doing something good. I mean, they're good at it, at what they do. It's a specific, they do R-rated, really, really edgy stuff. And some of it's gross out. I don't know what they have planned for 6. But I saw the trailer, and it seemed like it was really funny. So
they're one of the few sort of filmmakers who have their own style, who have their own thing going on that I really trust when they come out with a new thing.
I admire these guys because they're original.
I've heard you talk about them, and also like Austin Powers as being examples of, of they have their own style, and they don't necessarily have to follow your own set. Like the set of 15 rules that you guys have set.
15 rules, and the Wayans don't follow it, and Mike Myers don't follow it, and but if you try to do the Zuckers, then you're in trouble if you don't know the rules. So that's
You have a podcast.
Yes, it's called Naked Comedy, but it hasn't been released yet. So we're having a bunch of people on, and I'm going to have Cameron on in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to show, she really wants, she gets comments all the time. People ask her about the hat. Anyways, she said, do you have the clip of the hat, you know, of the giant hat on wheels? And I want to start looking for it. I don't know who owns Scary Movie 3 at this point, but
is there anything else that you wanted to plug that that we didn't get to?
Just, you know, the important thing is masterclass.com. It's actually a free community, and you can join and be in on a lot of the antics that we're up to, and maybe learn something along with me, because in some of these, because I a lot of the classes, I'm just interacting with the students and they can ask questions and stuff, and that's how I came up with the hat fix, you know, all these years later.